Well, this is Baruch here. I'm at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and it's time. This is the first day of the week. It's actually Motzoi Shabbat. And we are coming up, I think today is the fourth day? Today's the fifth day of Adar. So we're less than 10 days away from Purim. And here we're coming to Parsha's Ttzaveh. And this is an old Chumash that I had. I taught myself how to learn Torah. And I did it with things like this. I repeated them until I got a hang for what was going on, pretty much. And so this is the beginning of the Parsha, and it says, V'ata Ttzaveh, and you thou shalt command, as Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel, V'yikhu alecha, and take, he says, unto thee, unto yourself, Shemen zak, pure olive oil, Kosis l'mo'or, beaten for the light, in other words, really pressed hard, I think, to cause a lamp to burn continuously. He said, La'alos ner tomid. So this is the beginning of our Parsha. Let me close that. Bring over a Zohar. So Rabbi Shimon begins, and he says like this, Ba'ata Ttzaveh b'nei Yisrael, then you should command the children of Israel, Ba'ata hakre b'alecha es Aaron achicho, and you should bring to yourselves Aaron, your brother. I'm a Rabbi Chia, so what's all this about? What's different about this particular phrase than all the other places? So you have places like this. It says, and you, you should bring to yourself, and you should speak to all of those who have wisdom in their heart, and you should command the Jewish people, and you should take these spices. So he wants to say that this phrase, you can explain, that this phrase, ba'ata, why doesn't it just say, what was it his ba'ata? Because the verb that comes after it is also in the second tense. So we'll see it in the mato. And the person of it, the purpose of this, is to incorporate the shchinta along with it, the shchina. So here we come over here to the, we'll quote a little bit of the pasuk as the matuk does. And then it goes to these other places. The kindly, that's the rest of the first sentence. Amar Rabbi Chia, as the Rabbi Chia said, hiksha, there's a kasha here. So what's the difference here? Because every place else in the Torah. Because we have these places which have to do with the construction of the Mishkan. And you should bring it for yourself, or you should bring it. And you, again, should speak to all of those wise hearts. And you should command the Jewish people, and then he goes through this. All of these different phrases that have to do with the Mishkan. Also had the idea kach lecha b'samim rosh mar or drawer. So he says like this. So all of these different places it said that. And now it comes over here and it says v'lam lo kasa v'hi kravta. So why didn't you just take it? Why'd you have to say ba'ata? Ba'ata, and then he said v'hikravta. Let's see what it says. Ba'ata, dedaber, ba'ata, hakre, v'lecho, so that. Why isn't it just v'hikravta? Hikravta means that you should bring it. V'dibarta, and you should speak it. V'tzivisa, you should command it. V'lekachta. Believe milas v'ata, and you don't need the word v'ata. So he says the word v'ata doesn't really help. It's just superfluous. So every place else it would just say v'lekachta v'dibarta v'tzvita like that. And mitaretz, but he says like this. Here's the answer. Who sowed godel? But there's a big secret over here. What's the secret? Behind the gedei lekolo es hashchina im Moshe b'midas v'ata is to bring in along with Moshe Rabbeinu, who represents the middle line. Possibly Zeranpin was saying at this point, because it's incorporating Moshe with the Shechina. Because the Shechina, the name of another Shechina is Ata. Now you think if you ever read Martin Buber's I and Thou, where he talks about different forms of the word you, because there is a U, and you have this in Spanish and Latin languages. You have two different U's. You have a U which is formal, and a U which is personal. Here we're talking about the Shechina. Shechina is called you. You is you talking to somebody personal. The Vishahi so olam hanigla, because the Shechina is someone you can talk to. Let's say, so to speak. It's not a person, but it's a direction. So the Shechina is personal. Shehi sod olam hanigla, the secret of the revealed world. So he says you could see this in the Pardes. So let's go in anyway, or the Pardes. V'amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'Moshe. So this is what we're seeing. The Kodesh Baruch Hu said to Moshe, V'ata, and you. Hainu im hashchina. So you do this together with the Shechina. Haklulas imachu, haklulu imachu will be incorporated with you. Ttzaveh, the two together. You and the Shechina, which is the whole, the root of Tzilut. It Ttzaveh v'tibabach, because call Eloch HaDevarim, that you should command, and you speak over all of these different things, al b'nei Yisrael, to the Jewish people. So we have a little more time. Let's look at the next Zohar, and it says like this. Rabbi Yitzchak says like this. The upper light and the lower light, Nora Tatal, are all incorporated when there is a yichud that takes place between them. They're considered to be va'ata, vav and ata. Kama da'ata, like you say like this. It's quote from Nehemiah. Va'ata machaya es kulam, and ata is va'ata. That phrase is what brings life to all of them. And it didn't say v'hikrav but and you command the b'nei Yisrael, v'tedaber el kol chachmei lev, all of that. It doesn't say that. And why doesn't it say that? It said begin da'haku zimna sharya shimsha b'sichru, because at the moment that the Mishkan was being put together, the sun and the moon were sharya, dwelling as one. And they joined themselves in the complete and total oneness, the sharya umanusa the ovda, in order to be able to dwell on this actual work of the Mishkan itself, that would be a part of it, that the Shechina, the Zachav and Nuk would be together with all of this in this unity, the tremendous unity. It's like making I'm thinking like looking at the Tikkun elevator kol, that middle line there, making that line work. So let's see, sorry for digressing, let's see real quickly what the Matak Medavash has to say. So his V'amar Rabbi Yitzchak Polig V'amar, he argues over here and he says like this, Or El Yon Shehu Zer Anpin, Or Tachnom Shehu Malchus, and the lower light which is Malchus. He says, Koklulim Yachad Beso the Yichud the Nikroim Va'ata. So they're incorporated together. They're incorporated in the secret of Yichud, and they're called Va'ata. Ki Os Vav, because Vav represents the middle line. That's what I was trying to say with the drawing. Uhu Za Zer Anpin. Umilas Va'ata Ki HaMalchus. So Ata, we know, is Malchus. So now you have the Vav and the Ata. So he said, because it says about Zachav and Nuk, which is their Anpen and Malchus, because they're making a oneness in the lower part of its Tzilut. It causes the streaming of bracha from the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, the Hachios is called Olamos, to bring life to all of the world. So therefore it's not written. It's not written because it's achicho, but tzivisa b'nei Yisrael, the command of b'nei Yisrael, v'dabarta b'nei Yisrael below milas v'atah. It is not written without the word v'atah. So he said the fish of Bisman hakamas the Mishkan, because when this at the time of the establishment of the Mishkan, Hayir Shorach Hashemesh Zer Anpin, you had the dwelling of Zer Anpin. Im halavana, with the mum shehicha malchus besod the yichud, which is malchus, and it is the secret of their yichud. So he's v'nishtatfu kol hasfiras ka'echad, and this causes all of the spheres. That means that the oneness, which is the true reality, was allowed to be able to shine down like that middle line, ka'echad, to be like one. The shrosh al umanus, in order to dwell on this the craftsmanship, shal melechas and mishkan, which is made by those of wise hearts. V'chein kosev ba'ata. So therefore it writes the phrase ba'ata. L'chorez shakol ma she'asa Moshe, that everything that Moshe did, the melechas of Mishkan, for the work of the Mishkan, Hay b'koach kudsha barichu v'shchinta, he came through that. So let me read this here. He says, Hine inyan yichud zun hanizkarim b'drosh zeh, enu yichud zun gedolim. It's not zun gedolim. So we'll have to get into what that means. Elo hu yichud shal Yaakov v'Leah. It's a nighttime yichud. So he said, V'zel l'shona amna mazivra na'asecha b'dor midbar. Hoy b'bechidas Yaakov v'nukve. It was a concept of Yaakov, a lower level, we would say a lower level of yichud, a partial yichud. B'dichim Yaakov v'nukve, Yaakov and his female counterpart. Hanik was Dor HaMidbar, which is called Dor HaMidbar, and that has to be seen in the Otros. V'kol HaNeshama shel Dor HaMidbar, and all of the neshamas that were in the Dor HaMidbar, Kulam choya nimshachos b'zivug zeh. All of them were flowed out and streamed out from that yichud that took from there, because first you have the yichud of Yaakov v'Leah. Leah is above Rachel, and then streams down to the rest. L'chein nikras al shemam. So therefore, it's called by their names. This is Baruch Fleischman. This is the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. I'm the lift manager, soon to be appointed Saba of the Kollel.